Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Riri, and if you're new here, I'm an over 40 lover of all things beauty, and I'm pretty obsessed with indie brands. Today's video is all my favorite fall palettes. Alright beauties, before we dive in, please don't forget to thumbs up the video if you like what you see, subscribe down below if you have not yet, share the video out if you do enjoy my content. It really does help us as creators. And turn on that little bell right down there so you get notified of future videos. I am so dang excited today, you guys. Not only do I get to talk about my absolute favorite time of year, fall time, cool weather, no more sweating, no hotness. Yeah, I love fall, like a whole lot. I love all the holidays. I love Halloween. My son's birthday's in December. It's just fall going into winter is my all-time favorite part of the year, but I'm also collabing with one of my all-time favorite creators, Leora. She will be popped up right here. You will see her beautiful face, and she of course is going to be linked down below. I am new to her. She kind of found me through the Gourmande Girls palette, so thank you, Gourmande Girls. But I've watched her for I think around 9 to 10 months now. I did see her in a YouTube collaboration using the Pantone color of the year. And as soon as she said sweeties, I knew I loved her. It was love at Leora. It was love at first sight. But I absolutely love her, you guys. She is all about just embracing who we are. I connect with her on a whole different level, on a very personal, deep type of level. She obviously doesn't really know that or the extent of my gratitude for her and how inspiring she is because, of course, you know, I'm new to her. But first and foremost, she's a mama of 7. She lives in Israel. She is all about color, 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 color. And even in having 7 kids and being a badass mama, she still takes the time out of her day every single day to do makeup, to do self-care, to embrace who she truly is. She's all about color and just being unique and being different and embracing that. And you guys know that I am all about that. I am definitely not for everybody. I am not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm definitely somebody's double shot of tequila, and that is fine by me. But she lives kind of in this preface of, this is who I am, take it or leave it. She's very open and honest in her reviews and in the products that she likes or dislikes, but she's also very humble and very respectful in that. She doesn't hold up a palette and say, this is a piece of shit. So I love everything about her. We also happen to be the exact same age. We are both 42, and we just love moving to the beat of our own drum. I absolutely love her. Her styling is beautiful. Her makeup is absolutely incredible. Her eye looks, you guys, are perfection. I cannot say enough about her. So when she reached out to me and said, would you like to do a video? I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And we're talking about fall palettes, which y'all know fall is my favorite time of year. So this is gonna be like a double, triple whammy type of video. If you're coming from Leora's channel, hey beautiful, welcome to my beauty family. If you're unfamiliar with Leora, y'all know what I say. Go watch her. And if you're feeling a vibe, you feel a connection the way I do, and you can relate to her, subscribe. It is absolutely free for you. And it would mean the world to both of us. This is probably going to be a long one. Y'all know I don't do too many long videos. I try not to, but y'all know what I say with my longer videos, honey. Go grab your tacos and your tequila, your milk and your cookies, your Doritos, your Cheetos, your Fritos, whatever is your pleasure. Sit back and relax. Put your feet up. Self-love and enjoy the show. We're going to dive in. We aimed for 10 palettes, but we both went over. I only went over a little bit. And in case you're looking at my look and you're like, Riri, that is not fall at all, honey. It is to me. I did not want to start off the video with a typical, for me, grunge look, green look, or warm tone look, which I always do those. I also think about jewel tones when I think about the fall. I think about rich, cool tones. I think about just deepening up everything, darkening everything up, and maybe not everybody does, but I opted to do a more jewel toned look today, and I'm using one of my palettes. This is definitely more spooky season, which is in fall, but we are in the height of spooky season. I'm loving every moment of it. So I opted for my Blood Moon palette from WENZDAE Cosmetics. She is an indie brand. That is something else that I love about Leora. She's all about showcasing and loving on the indie brands, and y'all know indie brands have my heart and soul. So I did go in today with, of course, blue and purple. I have a little bit of Transcendence on the inner corner, and then I have Celestial all over. And this look, of course, is going to be coming very, very soon. And I recently got a discount code with WENZDAE Cosmetics. It is RIRI10. All the products that I'm using today and everything I'm talking about, unless it's no longer available, of course, will be linked down below, as will any kind of discount codes or anything like that. And I do not receive any commissions on this or anything like that. That code is for you guys. So this one is definitely in the mix for me. It is very jewel toned, very dark, very rich in tone. I think it is absolutely perfect for a fall spooky season type of vibe. So this is definitely on my list. And of course, it's an indie brand. Speaking of spooky season palettes, I had to talk about my all-time favorite Rebel Rouge Labs palette, and that is the Howlin for You. I did several looks with this. I'm obsessed with this palette. I absolutely love it, and I'm so happy she brought it back this year. This was such a hit last year, and I'm so happy that it was. Rebel Rouge Labs, you guys, she's perfection in my eyes. From her packaging, to the labeling, to the font, to the shade names, I absolutely am obsessed with Rebel Rouge Labs. As you guys know by now, I do also have a discount code with them. It is also RIRI10, and again, I do not earn any commissions. So you can see this has a couple purples in it, some golds, some greens. This shade right here, you guys, is one of my all-time favorite shades. It's called Illusion, and y'all know, even though I'm rocking purple today, I am not typically the purple fan, but this purple, you guys, is out of this world. It is glass-like. It has the tiniest little micro glitters in here. I love this shade so much. I love everything about this palette. Again, y'all know that I'm all about warm tones. I love anything grunge. I love greens, of course. So I had to put this in here. My only thing with this, and this is a personal preference, is there's a pressed glitter. I hate pressed glitter. I just don't like them, but I had to include this in my top fall favorites. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. Next up, we are going to move into more traditional fall palettes, if you will. I have a couple mainstream brands, of course, some indie brands, and then I have some lower end and some higher end. So I really do feel like I made good choices here, and I feel like there's something here for everybody. So next up is my Huda Beauty Toffee Brown little mini palette. I'm obsessed with her little mini palettes. I happen to love her formula a lot. I love the component of this. And this palette right here screams to me the perfect fall kind of neutral, warm leaning palette. I love that it's small. I love that it's compact. I love that it also has a mirror. I absolutely love her formula. I mean, hello. Those are absolutely stunning. They're very glass-like, and her formula, in my personal opinion, has wonderful staying power, which is something that I really gravitate toward. Now, yes, it's a higher price point for a smaller palette. I understand that, but I do think that it screams fall, so I think this was also a perfect choice for my fall favorites. Next up on my list of fall favorites, I have two ColourPop palettes. I'm going to take them out of their sleeves. I have the Wine and Only, and I also have Wild Child. So we have the Wine and Only. It is a beautiful wine colored palette, and it is literally wine tones, deep berry tones, leaning more plum. I absolutely love this palette. I think it is phenomenal. And ColourPop, of course, is cruelty-free, and they are very affordable. I think if you are somebody that is into more mauvey, berry, deep, rich tones like this, I think you're going to be obsessed with this. I absolutely love it. I think it is perfect for fall time. ColourPop has a beautiful formula. I've had kind of hits and misses with ColourPop, but I think overall, especially for the price point, I think they do a really, really great job. And I love tonally that it just goes so deep and so rich in pigment. I'm obsessed with this palette. I think it's beautiful. I think it is absolutely fall worthy. Next up is the Wild Child palette. I love this palette. I'm obsessed with this palette. I basically screamed with joy when I saw this announced on Trend Mood, and I knew that I wanted to get it. I love the packaging. I associate giraffes with my son. He's about to be 18 and go off to school. I want to cry. Help me. But his very first gift that was given to him was a giraffe, and he literally has collected giraffes and loved giraffes since then. So they hold a very special place in my heart. But it was the first time In my opinion, ColourPop introduced something with a lot of depth to it. I think it definitely could work for all skin tones, but especially being deep skin friendly, we obviously need more of that. And if you do have fair to light skin, guys, you can always go in with a very, very fluffy brush, tap lightly in and blend them out. And if you use a super fluffy brush and kind of hold your brush at the very end of the brush, you're going to place a little bit of pigment versus using a more firm brush and kind of going all the way in and doing a packing motion. So my personal opinion, I do think that it is super, super inclusive. Again, cruelty free, again, at an affordable price point. And I think that they are absolutely stunning. Obviously more neutral leaning, but just a little bit more depth, a little bit, you know, kind of more rich in tone here. But I love this palette. I think that it could take you obviously year round, but to really kind of deepen up and richen up those kind of softer neutral looks, if you will, I think this is the perfect choice for a fall favorite. Next up, I had to do it. Even though it's a newer palette to me, I had to do the Glamlite Dirty Martini palette. You guys know I live for green, and I think so many of us kind of associate fall with greens. This is literally, in my opinion, the perfect green palette. And I also love that they did put in a couple neutrals in here. They put a couple blues in here. I think it's a beautiful cohesive palette. I also like the level of depth in here, and I think tonally it goes pretty dark. I love it. And Glamlite has one of my all-time favorite formulas. Again, another indie brand, and y'all know my love and obsession for indie brands. Yeah, their formula is beautiful, you guys. Absolutely beautiful. And I also feel like the long wearability is there. When I do a look with Glamlite shadows, I know that 6 or 8 or 10 hours later, it's still going to be on my eyes. And I love and appreciate that. This palette definitely leans a little bit more grungy. If you're not into grunge or greens, probably not for you, but I'm obsessed with grunge. I'm obsessed with greens. I think it is a beautifully curated palette, and the formula is fantastic. Green, grunge, it screams fall in my opinion. So yeah, definitely a fall favorite. Next up is my Brew palette from September Rose Cosmetics. They are also an indie brand, and they are a UK indie brand, and they are also cruelty free. I love this palette, and I think of probably all of these, maybe aside from 1 or 2 more, I feel like this is the most fall, or kind of most traditional fall, if you will, because it does have a little bit of everything. You have a little bit of neutrals, you have your deep plums, which I think are synonymous with fall. You have a little bit of burgundies, you have some orange tones in here. I love this palette. I love the fact that there is a white shade and a black shade. I like that there are more mattes to shimmers. Y'all know that I'm all about the mattes, honey. Give me mattes, give me depth, and then let me put a little bit of a shimmer on the lid. I also think this is quite inclusive because you do have different transition tones in here. You could lighten a color. You could also add depth to a color. When I used this for the first time, you guys, I was absolutely blown away. It's absolutely beautiful, quite user-friendly as well, and it's not a super big, bulky, huge palette. It screams traditional fall to me. Your reds and your plums, your burgundies, things like that. But it's still grounded by a black and a white and having a couple of neutrals. I love this palette. Definitely a fall favorite. Next up for my fall favorites is The Warrior by Juvia's Place. The packaging is absolutely stunning. I feel like they curate everything with thought and intention. I feel like they are one of the brands that really gets it right 99% of the time. Their palettes, I feel like, are always well curated. They have a beautiful, very rich in depth, very rich in tone, very long lasting on the lids type of formula. They are quite affordable. They're a beautiful indie brand. I cannot say enough about Juvia's Place. They are one of my all-time favorite brands. This almost reminds me kind of tonally, and the way that it's kind of set up, the way that the Huda Beauty one is. Obviously the pans are a little bit bigger, and it is quite affordable, like very, very affordable. My only thing is, and this is a personal, personal preference, is that there are way more shimmers than mattes, and I'm all about having mattes, building them up, adding depth and intensity. And I do think this could be quite inclusive. You do have a light, a mid-tone, and a deep kind of transition shade. So I do think it is a standalone palette. Again, it is obviously a neutral palette. They are quite pigmented. They're super, super easy to blend. I think they're incredibly underrated. I think they're very beginner friendly. And again, they last all day on the lids. If you're looking for something that is a lower price point, something that is going to last all day, something that's going to be easy to work with, easy to blend out. If you have 10 minutes in the morning to do a shadow look, this is for you. I also love this shade right here as a highlight. It is absolutely gorgeous, makes a beautiful inner corner highlight. I think this screams fall. Maybe it doesn't scream, maybe it just says fall. But I still love it, and it is definitely a fall favorite. Next up in my fall favorites is a palette that I wanted ever since they sneak peeked it and it sold out, and I was devastated. Okay, makeup devastated, you know what I'm saying? And then I found out it was coming back and I was like, I'm getting this palette. I don't give a damn how much it is. I don't care how long I have to wait, but it is Meet Me in the Underworld from LOIS Cosmetics, another indie brand. Of course. I love everything about this palette. This is literally a Riri palette. I mean, even the outside's green. Come on now. I love the artwork. They are a cruelty-free brand. And it is the quintessential, in my opinion, grunge fall palette. I absolutely love this color story. Again, we have a couple of neutrals, our beautiful greens, some grunge shades in here. I like the blend of mattes to shimmers here. I like, obviously, that there is a black deepening up shade. You have a couple of lighter shades. It's beautiful. It's also a fantastic formula. Very easy to blend, very user-friendly, lasts all day long. The staying power for me is key, you guys. I do not want to do an eye look and then 10 minutes later, I don't see anything on my lids. Time is precious to us. Okay, so I will swatch a couple for you. I swatched a couple for you. Their black is one of my favorites, not my all-time favorite. My all-time favorite is coming up though. Again, very rich in tone. I think depth-wise in the palette, it goes, you know, light to very, very dark, which I love. I love having a black in a palette. I love having more mattes than shimmers. I love that you can also go in here and build a more mauvey pink look. You can go in with your greens. You can go very neutral. You can go softer if you want to, or really, really deepen it up and go super grungy. I'm obsessed with this palette. I'm obsessed with this color story. Any kind of color story like this, I'm all for it. Y'all know that. Yeah, definitely a fall favorite. Next up is my Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. If you guys have been here for a while, you already know this is one of my all-time favorite palettes, not just for fall. I'm obsessed with this palette. My beautiful friend it's Amanda, and myself did a full series using our Natasha Denona Metropolis palettes. I will say, yes, this is a mainstream brand, and yes, it is a very expensive palette. However, if you do like me and you do want it and the color story speaks to you, which it did, wait for Sephora to do their sale and save up and then purchase it when they do the yearly sale. That is what I did last year. It does have a magnetic opening. The outside is green, of course. And then the inside, just whenever this first came out, you guys, I already knew I wanted it, even just seeing it. Definitely see fall. To me, this screams fall. You can go very neutral leaning. You can go very warm leaning with your oranges and your yellows, your golds. You can go very cool tone and go into the different shades of blues. There's some berry shades in here. I love this palette, and her formula is impeccable, you guys. The way that these blend, I mean, some of these are literally silk-like. I mean, her formula is absolutely exquisite in my personal opinion, and I loved every single look that I did with this palette. I think that you could create so many different looks with this. I think you can even see, even on my finger, just her beautiful kind of creamy matte formula that she has. You guys, it is amazing. It is a beautiful, beautiful formula. And I was so nervous to get this palette. I had even said it multiple times. Like, you guys, I could never spend that much. And typically I wouldn't. I was like, I could never spend that much. I could never spend that much. And so many of you guys actually recommended this to me. And you were like, Riri, if you know you love that color story, if it screams you, it is your vibes, get it. Because you will love it. You will love the way it performs. You guys, it is, I'm telling you, this is one of the best palettes I've ever used. I really, really wholeheartedly mean that. And I test a lot of makeup. I've tried a lot of makeup. I think it's super inclusive. It does last a long time on the lids as well. I love this palette, you guys. I love this palette. One of the top palettes I've ever used, ever. Next, and almost last, second to last, is my Empress Me Skin palette. I love everything about this palette. I love everything about the brand. The owners are absolutely incredible. They are all about inclusion, loving and embracing ourselves just as we are, no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter your skin tone. I love the packaging. I love the theming. I love the layout. I love the color story. Massive mirror in here. It does fold all the way back, which I love. And it also, in my personal opinion, screams fall time. I love the puzzle pieces. I think that is definitely a beautiful and unique touch. This kind of reminds me of the Metropolis palette, even like the Brew palette, where you can kind of go anywhere, if you will. You can go definitely neutral leaning, you can go more warm leaning, you can go more cool leaning. I also love that there's a super light shade in here, and I also love that there is a black in here. It happens to be my all-time favorite black ever of time. When I tell you guys that this is the best black that I've ever used in a palette before. It is exquisite, you guys. The formula of this is so beautiful, very easy to blend out. I'll even kind of show you as I start to kind of shear this out. I like a black like this that is quite intense, and if I want to really pack a punch, I can. But then it's also easy enough to blend out that if I'm doing kind of a classic black smoky eye or trying to smudge a lash line or something like that, it still works for that. It's stunning. It's phenomenal. I absolutely love it. I go into this palette more than I probably go into any other palette that I have currently. It's a holy grail. I'm obsessed with it. Definitely user-friendly. Definitely screams fall, in my personal opinion. Again, you have a couple jewel tones, there's warm tones, there's a couple cool tones. You could go super natural, go mauve, go with golds. It's super diverse. It definitely, in my personal opinion, is the perfect fall favorite palette. And last, but certainly not least, and no surprise at all, is my Gourmande Girls Cosmetics That Time of Year palette in collaboration with me, that's right. The Brutally Honest Beauty. My name is on here. And Debutante and Adventures of Xenia. I will have them both linked down below. I do also have a discount code with Gourmande Girls. It is Riri or Riri10. Again, I do not earn commission. That is for you. But this is our palette that we created together. I am so proud of this palette, you guys. I love it. We definitely wanted to go more winter themed. However, like I've said basically throughout the entire video, I also view jewel tones, deep, rich tones. I like grungy greens. Those also all speak fall to me. So while this is technically a winter-esque type of palette, I definitely think because you do have greens, you can go a little bit more grungy. We have a natural shade. We have neutral shades in here. We have the pop of the burgundy. We have blue. We have purple. We have you guys, I love this palette, and not just because it has my name on it. I've already done 7 different looks with this palette, and I am just as blown away and just as obsessed with each and every single look. I definitely think you could use this palette year round, but I more so think right in here definitely is screaming fall. And then the shade Icicle, you can literally lay this on top of any other shade, you guys, and it changes how that shade looks. It changes and shifts depending on the lighting. I just love it. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I love this palette so much. And Warm and Toasty, Fuzzy Socks, Nostalgia, and Cherries Jubilee. You guys, right here literally is like the most perfect. It's already there for you. It's already in a quad for you. It is the most perfect little fall friendly look. I love it. And the shade Warm and Toasty it's warm and toasty. I love it. It's absolutely stunning. It is definitely a more kind of grungy leaning brown. I really love it. I'm also going to swatch Nostalgia for you guys, which I think is incredible. I love this. This little quad, especially right here, like if she were to sell this as a quad, I think it would sell beautifully. You could go in with a transition shade, deepen up your outer corner, put this all over. I love this palette so much. It's very user-friendly, and in my personal opinion, the perfect fall palette. I have talked your ears off, and I'm so sorry. I hope you grabbed 2 drinks or 2 snacks or 3. I appreciate you beauties being here so much. I appreciate you, Leora. Thank you so much for reaching out to me. I cannot wait to see all of your picks. I know you're going to have a ton of indie brands in there, and I'm excited but also scared because I may want to buy some. I love you beauties. Stay happy, healthy, and safe, and be your own best beautiful. Bye beauties.